This is the Literacy Mindset Podcast, where education leaders discuss identifying and removing phonological barriers with Mindplay's CEO, Jeff Pendleton.
Okay, everyone, welcome back. Excited for another episode of the Literacy Mindset Podcast. And my guest today, Latisha Broomfield. She is the director of ESL in Westborough Public Schools in Massachusetts. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Very excited to have you today and talk through, some of the unique elements that English learners face in their, journey of literacy acquisition. We love talking about it from a lot of different angles. Sometimes we go down a special ed route. Sometimes we go down different populations. So this is really exciting for me to be able to talk through the English learner side of it. But maybe first, let's set some context. Give us a little bit background on how it is that you got into the seat that you're in today.
Yeah. So this is, I think, my 28th year in education. So I taught mainly second and third grade in Boston, also in Worcester, Massachusetts. I transitioned to Westborough as an ESL teacher in 2016. And from there, I became the director. This is my fourth year, going into my fourth school year as the director of the English language for the district.
Awesome. And then maybe tell us just a little bit about Westborough in general. It's a smaller district outside of Boston. Is that how you describe it?
Right. We are a suburban district. We fall in between Boston and Worcester, which is the second largest city in New England. So we're right kind of like in the middle of both. Our district is kind of small district. We run around 400 ESL students. We've been as high as 480. And generally, I'd say around 400 ESL students for the district, pre-K to 12.
Got it. And about, 3 elementary buildings that are K3, a 4-6 building, 7-8, and then a 9-12 building, right?
Yes. And we also have a preschool building.
And love it. Well, let's see. Your background was an elementary school teacher first, right? Before you went into the ESL side of the world.
Right.
We talked a bit about instruction and the science of reading, and how maybe the science of reading is simply new words to say something that has been happening for a long time. Yes. The science of good instruction is kind of how you described it, right?
Right.
Tell me a little bit more about your philosophy on good instruction and what does it look like?
So for me, I believe good instruction is knowing your students first, knowing what they need, and providing them what they need based on the information you gather. So I believe in using the data to drive your instruction and to provide each student with what they need. I believe that in a classroom, you may have a classroom of 28 students, but in that classroom of 28 students, you can specifically target and structure instruction so that you're giving every student that basis, but then also providing the individuals what they need to fill gaps.
Yeah. So got to first know your students.
Absolutely. And build relationships. That's the key.
Relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting. Let's talk a little bit about just some of the technical differences as you move from a maybe gen ed elementary school teacher to a special population like English as a second language. What are some of the main differences that you kind of had to acquire, maybe if skills or just an understanding of the students? How would you describe that?
I think the transition from the classroom to ESL instructor, what was hardest for me was being able to, because we co-teach in this district, where ESL, we co-teach, was being able to insert myself into someone else's classroom and be able to collaborate and bring in the language that the students need, but not adding the language to the content without stepping on toes. That was really hard for me to transition. And the other piece to transition as an ESL teacher was understanding that the student's language is an asset. So not taking that away from them, but building on it and building on their own the student's background to be able to give them what they need. So that was a transition for me, because the population of ESL students I came from, there were mostly 3s and 4s who were stuck there, long-term Ls. Whereas here in this district as an ESL teacher, I had more level 1s and 2 students. So that was a big transition for me to really understand that they're already coming with something. So it's up to me to find it and build on it.
Yeah, no, that's I love the asset-based lens, right? Where
right.
What do these students have, and what can they build off of? So interesting that you say that one of the bigger challenges was just adapting to the co-teaching side of the world.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like? What when you say co-teaching, I think people maybe hear one thing, but describe how that actually happens in the classroom.
So in my previous life, when I was a classroom teacher, I co-taught, but I was the one giving everybody else what they needed to do. So in the ESL role, I became the person I had to take a step back.
You were part B in this case.
Right. So for us, for the expectations that I have from my team now, co-teaching is me as the ESL teacher bringing the language lens to the content. So I'm adding that layer of language to what's going on in the classroom. I'm having conversations with the teacher to be able to say, okay, where can we insert time for those students to use the academic language? How can I bring in the scaffold? How can I bring in opportunities for the students to use what you're giving them in a real way, in a real life situation? Yeah. And so once you have that understanding between the classroom teacher and the EL teacher, then you can start building groups. You can start deciding, when are you going to lead the class and when am I going to lead? When are we going to parallel teach? So there's a lot of different things. Once you have that foundation and that basic understanding, then you can expand and give every child what they need, be it ESL or Gen Ed.
Right. So what does that look like practically in the classroom? Is there a lot of whole group that's happening, or is there less whole group and more sort of small group working on unique needs?
I think it depends, because at the points of whole group, like for instance, my co-teacher and I, we would decide who was leading the lesson, like the mini lesson, for instance. So some days she might lead the mini lesson. Some days I might. Some days we may split all the kids into two and each of us are teaching the mini lesson, parallel teaching. In terms of grouping, then we would decide, for instance, in a workshop model, if we do our mini lesson, then we go into our stations or our groups. These kids need this particular thing, be it ESL or Gen Ed. I'm going to teach the main concept, and then we rotate them through. So we would rotate them through our groups, or like I said, sometimes we parallel teach. Sometimes one of us would teach and one of us would support the students. So it really depends on the content and what we're trying to convey. And also, like, is it a preview lesson, review? So.
Right. Okay. Interesting. It's great. Kind of gives us some real lens into what happens inside the classroom.
Right.
Let's now go to maybe even a more narrow lens. Let's think about individual students. So one of the things that we talk about Mindplay often is, what are barriers to reading success? How do we help identify those barriers, and then of course subsequently remove them to the extent that we can, right? So in your world, working with English learners, how would you describe barriers to reading success? And then we can talk about the things that you guys do to try and remove those barriers.
One big barrier is their level of education and their level of language in their native language and in the country they came from. So we know the students that have more academic language in a native language, they move at a faster rate.
Got it.
So that's one big barrier. Also, I just lost my train of thought too.
Fine.
Being able to... really lost my train of thought.
That's fine. So we can just go on to the next one, or we can, you want to gather your thoughts and
ask me the question again, because I had it in my head and then.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, so when we think about barriers to reading success, what is it that you find are some of the barriers that the English learners face as they try and learn to read and go down this literacy journey?
Okay, so this is what I was going to say. So first, I was talking about the background. So what background knowledge do they have in their native language? Academic language, and their level of education. Did they have a lot of education, or are they a SLIFE student? And also, for instance, if we have that student, let's say Johnny is a SLIFE student, he's been here for three months, but he had only 2 years of education in his country. So for Johnny, I, as a teacher, as an ESL teacher or a classroom teacher, I have to be okay with knowing that Johnny's not going to move as fast as the rest of the kids. There's students that are native speakers or that have had uninterrupted education. So I have to give myself permission to meet Johnny where he is and give Johnny what he needs to be able to succeed. So I think that's hard for people to say. You know, as teachers, we want everyone to get it. We want them to get it right away. Right now. And sometimes it's hard to step back and say, okay, Johnny's not going to understand A, B, and C right now. And it's okay. If he just learned E, D, and F for right now, that's okay. That's where he is. I can add the rest later and he'll get it as long as I keep on giving him the skills he needs, scaffolding and using strategies to meet him where he's at. He's going to get it.
Yeah, no, that's great. For those in the audience that may not know, can you define SLIFE student for folks?
So SLIFE student is a student with limited or interrupted formal education. So over the past year, we've seen an influx of those students who came to the district, students who may have been the migrant students, or they may have been refugees seeking political asylum, all those students. So some of those students had very limited education. For instance, we had students come into 8th grade that had only had education to 4th grade, or students in 3rd grade that only had education up to 1st grade, or started brand new in 3rd grade to school. That's their first exposure.
Yeah. Okay. So clearly that introduces additional challenges, like you said. And how do you figure that out? Maybe a bit more of a zoomed out lens now. You are in a high performing district,
right?
In which usually there's an element of pace to that, right? Hey, here's what we do, and here's how we do this, and here's how everybody gets through this. What do you have to do to try and maybe slow people down in a high performing district, knowing that pace for your students might be a little bit different, as you just described?
Right. I think that comes with professional development and support. Okay. So we're at a place where we know this is a problem, and it's not just here, it's pretty much across the state where we've had this. So we're at this place where we know our gen ed teachers need more support. We know that our EL teachers know what to do and how to support those students, but we need to share the wealth with our classroom teachers, our gen ed teachers. So now we're preparing professional development ongoing in cohorts for the next school year to be able to give them strategies and scaffold ideas, and give them ideas and give them a lens of how to support these students without feeling that like they're a bad teacher, because they're not bad teachers. It's just we need to fill their toolkit. We need to fill their bucket.
Right. No, that's great. And maybe let's talk a little bit about the PD there. I mean, it's not uncommon for a district to bring us in when you've got 8th graders reading at a 2nd or 3rd grade level. Right. Anyway, right. Mm-hmm. And that 8th grade ELA teacher's like, I'm not skilled in teaching phonics, right? I don't know how to teach these foundational skills. But this is a common thing for you, right?
Absolutely.
That is 8th graders learning foundational skills. That's basically an English learner world sometimes. So how do you sort of balance the professional development with the gen ed teacher versus, we'll just let the EL teacher take care of this one so that it's done appropriately? How do you guys think about that?
Our EL teachers, more recently, we've been fortunate enough to hire teachers that have an elementary background in the upper grades. So they're strong with teaching reading. They're strong. They have instructional backgrounds in teaching reading. I think that I believe in walkthroughs together. So we're planning those type of things, walkthroughs, peer observation, seeing these things in action as we feel about it. Because, once you get professional development, sometimes we don't always have the opportunity to put things in place.
Practice it, right? It's like, wait, I learned this great thing and I've never get to try it.
Right. So through collaborative walkthroughs and collaborations with other districts, I feel like that's the best way for people to be able to take something from it and put it into practice. For instance, we partnered with another district in Massachusetts the last school year where we did site visits for each other, and we sat down with both teams sat down, swapped ideas. We got to see each other's schools in practice, and that was beneficial. It was powerful, and I think that we need more of that, and to be able to put these things into practice because you don't always have time.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. School districts are functionally, they look the same from the outside, kindergarten through 12th grade, elementary buildings, middle schools, high schools. But sometimes it is hard to sort of learn best practices from others because you might have a pretty unique student population that surrounding districts may not experience the same thing. Right. How often are you able to lean on other districts to kind of learn best practices?
So last year, I partnered with another director, so we lean on each other because we started at the same time. And so we had they came for a full day to my high school, and we went for a full day to their high school. So in the structure of the day, we had time at both schools to be able to observe each other's teachers teaching and also debrief. Have discussions around what we saw. And so now we've connected those teachers in both schools. They're connected to each other and they keep the conversation ongoing. So we're bringing that down to the middle school for this upcoming school year. And then we'll go down, from there and keep building the program, building that. Right.
I want to go back to a point that you talked about early. You sort of quickly referenced LTELs. From a previous district, right? And this term, long-term English learner. Can you define it for the audience here? What is a long-term English learner?
So typically, some schools of thought say 4 to 6 years students should be able to exit. Some say 5 to 8. So around there, I'd say between the 4 and the 8 year, you should see students exiting and moving. When they get to be past 4 or 5 years in the program, it's long term. So if I have a kindergarten student who started in kindergarten as an EL student and they get to be 9th or 10th grade and they're still an EL student, I have to question somewhere along the line, is it that the student, what's causing that? Is there something else going on? Are they an EL with disability, or is there something that we missed in targeting the language? Or is it just simply some kids, they just have test anxiety when it comes to taking a test? So
for sure, that's a possibility.
Right.
But there are a lot of districts that carry a larger than they would like population of long-term English learners.
Right.
But you guys have found a lot of success in being able to exit students out of the program. Can you speak to some of the things that you're doing that you think contribute to that?
Yeah, absolutely. First, I have a great team. My team is awesome. I just want to throw that out there.
Awesome, great team.
Second, we've done a lot of work since I've taken the role, and I feel fortunate enough to be able to have taken the role. But I worked alongside of some of my teachers as an EL teacher, so we collectively knew where we wanted to go. So I think our success comes from, one, their knowledge and their practices, 2, the flexibility and add the principals being able to give my team, the flexibility to schedule based on their needs, schedule the minutes based on what the students really need, and to be able to design courses and classes targeting their skills, targeting their weak areas, and also our connections and our relationships that we have not only with the students, but with the families. I feel like that motivates our students to exit. So we don't see their language as a barrier. We see their language as an asset. And we consistently tell our students that it's a gift to be able to speak more than one language. I don't have that gift, but it's a gift for them to be able to speak more than one language. And that motivates them. All of these things together motivate our students. So this past school year, we had our first EL graduation that was very well attended for 116 kids that exited, but it was very well attended. And it was just a proud moment for all of the kids to say, hey, you might have been in the program for 2 years or 5 years, whatever it is, but you've now mastered English as well as your own language. So we encourage families to read to their kids in their native language. We encourage them to keep speaking to their students in their native language. So it really matters. It matters. That's part of their identity.
Yeah. I love that. And great work, team, for all of that good work, because exiting is not an easy task.
Right.
And it sounds like you really got something going there.
Yeah.
What do you find? I think sometimes I love hearing the coordination and relationships with parents. What are you doing to keep a strong relationship with your counterparts in the curriculum department or the special ed department?
Right.
Because this is a holistic view to be able to make this happen. How do you make sure that curriculum gets purchased or implemented that really has impact on what you guys are doing?
I think I have said in the past 3 years, thousands of times, as ESL teachers, we add a layer of language to the content. So there has to be a balance of mutual respect. Like we know the content, but we also know the language standards. We know the WIDA standards. We know what we need to do to be able to move our students to get them out of, we love our students, but we want them out of our program. Right. So there has to be some mutual respect between the gen ed teachers and us, and as well as the special ed teachers, where we all have a goal, and that's to do what's best and right for our students. That's the ultimate goal for everyone. So the only way we could do that is to collaborate and understand everyone's role, understand each other's role.
No, I love that. And I love hearing that it's working, that you're actually collaborating, because there are times where some of that is a challenge, and it prevents.
Right. And it's been an uphill battle. Not a battle, I should say. We've been moving uphill with it because, prior to my being in this role, it may have been a little different, but because we didn't have the same population that we do now, it's changed. So we all have to have that kind of like that growth mindset. Like, how are we going to keep moving forward?
Right. And it can change rapidly.
Right.
And so
exactly.
you have to be nimble, in essence, to try and adjust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, what about technology? Do you guys use technology? How do you guys think about technology in your implementation of curriculum?
Right now, we use technology mainly for progress monitoring. This is where we're going. The vision is to be able to collect the progress monitor data through an online platform. So,
Got it.
And then use that data to be able to target instruction for students.
Makes sense.
Don't really rely on online instructional programs. We don't rely on that because, really, our students get enough screen time. So we don't rely heavily on those. We don't rely heavily on translation devices. We rely more on knowing the students and providing them what they need and making the content accessible.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. This has been a really enlightening conversation for me, and kudos to you and all the success that you're having.
Thank you.
I think I'll probably ask you a final crystal ball question. This is my favorite part of the show, being able to figure out how everybody sees the future. Can you give us a lens on some things that you're maybe a little bit concerned about the future? I don't know if it's trends or just things that you see could happen that you're maybe a little uneasy, and then give me something that you're really, really excited about.
Okay. Yeah. So, what makes me uneasy is just the state of the world as a whole, or the state of our country as a whole, and not to be political in nature or anything, but, just the views of the students that I serve, and the way they feel. I have a lot of empathy for the families and the way they may feel scared or they're uncertain.
Sure.
And I empathize with them. My husband's also an immigrant. To me, that's my biggest worry is, are our families safe, and are they feeling comfortable? Are they feeling like they belong? Are they feeling welcome? And that I hope that the tide changes. And that they can feel like they are in this community, they are here in this country, and we want them and we love them and we need them.
Right. Love it. Okay.
Yeah. And then what I'm looking
What are you excited about?
I'm excited about just going forward and using data. We've been working so hard, my team, on developing ways to use data to instruct, to be able to target specific standards from WIDA standards for specific students based on their level, based on their needs. So we've been working on progress monitoring tools, observational tools in the classroom, data days. So we have this next coming school year will be the first year of us having data days, just to be able to dive into the data that we collect and plan from it. And long term, I hope to have at some point a parents information center in the district. That will be, yeah.
that does sound exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been an absolute treat for me. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day and talking us through the great things that you guys have going on in Westborough. I hope that we get a chance to do it again sometime soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love to hear from you. Learn how we help students by identifying and removing phonological barriers at mindplay.com.